3, 4.
We just live right now, man. It's going down, excited for the season. You know, we coming off a playoff win. I mean, you know, we had a couple wins.
Hello and welcome to Dear Diaries, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast presented by us, the staff at Brewhoop. My name is Van Fias. I'm the managing editor of brewhoop.com. Stepping into the hosting chair today for my colleague Kyle Carr, who's out looking at houses right now. Good luck to you, Kyle. It's kind of tough out there for that right now. And it's tough to not have NBA basketball to watch right now. Calendar just flipped to August, dog days of summer. MLB trade deadline was yesterday. We're more than 2 months away from seeing any NBA basketball on the floor, but it is not too early to start our yearly season preview series. And we're tipping it off with some stars. I am honored today to be joined by two Los Angeles basketball icons. They are the hosts of the terrific Here District podcast on Bucks Plus Audio. So this is the Dear Diaries Here District crossover, the long-awaited. We'll start with the first mate, friend of the site and of the pod. He's back for another year on the season preview series. You can see him on playback streams with us throughout the year. That's playback.tv/Brewhoop. He's the 1993 LA City Player of the Year, 1993 and 1994 California State champions at Crenshaw High School, and 1995 NCAA champion Kris Johnson. How are you doing, man? Long time no see.
I'm great, Van, man. It's great to be back with you here at Brewhoop, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah. And the captain of the vessel, you see his number 8 retired in the rafters at Fiserv Forum. You see and you hear him as lead analyst for Bucks basketball and FanDuel Sports Wisconsin. All right. Also 1973 LA Player of the Year. I think I read that you two were the first father and son to have done that as well. 1973 California Mr. Basketball, undefeated in 73 and 74 at Crenshaw. 1975 NCAA champion, legendary John Wooden, his final title. Naismith College Player of the Year, first team All-American in 1977, and that's just college. 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA honoree, first team honors as a second-year player in 79. The most recent, and to this date, because it was the final Comeback Player of the Year award in 1986. He's Bucks legend, and I'm just going to say it, future Hall of Famer, the great Marques Johnson is here. Thank you for joining us, man.
I appreciate that, man. I think I mentioned that on our pod recording that's not out yet. And so for you to know that I won the last Comeback Player of the Year award, this trophy right here, what goes up goes in poster. That was the last time they gave that bad boy away. And, yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, when Brook Lopez came back from the back surgery and almost won Defensive Player of the Year, we were talking about it. It's like, you know, this would be a good season to bring that back, give him some hardware, and keep it with the Bucks. And hey, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that they're the only father-son duo in basketball history to win an NCAA championship at the same school. So we got two UCLA legends here, and as Kris knows, I'm an alum of the other school across town in Los Angeles.
That's okay, and that's okay.
Yeah, I got love for UCLA. I got some friends who went there. I just hope they don't revoke my master's. You know, my loyalty is to the Badgers, and all three of my alma maters are in the Big Ten now. So
yeah.
But anyway, enough of that. Let's get into some Bucks basketball, and we do this every year. We have a series of questions, and you know, we ask, if you're new to listening to it, we go through this with the staff, and we also bring in some friends and colleagues of ours from around the Bucks coverage sphere, and we just all kind of go through the same questions. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what you two guys think. So yeah, the first one, let's go right from Jump Street. Pick your starting lineup on opening night, and also your closing lineup in a playoff game. Why don't you start us off, MJ?
Okay, well, I'm not going to endear myself to many Buck fans with this starting lineup on opening night, because I believe that it'll be Giannis and Myles Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins, and Kyle Kuzma will start at the 3, even though that's probably not his best position. And
Okay.
I select him just because I just get this feeling not only is he going to be better prepared condition-wise and mentally to come in and play better, but then Doc spoke a lot last year, guys, about just how we've got to be a better coaching staff at putting Kyle in positions to succeed. Now, whether or not that means you're buried deep in the bench or not, that's a whole other issue. But I just think Doc is going to do everything within his power to try and get Kyle off to a good positive start to this upcoming year. And as we know, if Kyle can have a great year, then the Bucks can have a great year. And so that's the starting lineup. I mean, closing lineup in the playoffs. Now, with that being said, that's an interesting question too. I got to defer to the triumvirate, as I called them last year, the guys that have a plus 17 point differential in terms of how well they do at both ends of the floor. And if you look up their numbers, AJ Green, Kevin Porter Jr., and Gary Trent Jr., their offensive and defensive numbers across the board are just mind-boggling. I mean, the 100th percentile, 95th percentile, when you throw Giannis in there on a couple of those stats. And the only thing they don't do well, that none of the Bucks do well, is offensive rebounding. But the one thing I like about that lineup, and we'll talk more about this later, is that they generate turnovers. They got a 15% turnover percentage defensively when they're on the floor, and that's something the Bucks do not do, really not a part of their approach defensively. But with these 3, their active hands, their aggressiveness on the perimeter, they really generate a lot of turnovers. So I think they could be the closing lineup, along with, I was kind of, vexed as to whether or not, you go big or you go small. So, I could see Kuz in that situation. I could see Myles Turner, obviously. I think Bobby Portis, God, I mean, I'm just feeling like Bobby Portis. And this is all based on knowing the psyche of players, knowing Bobby, the length of time I've known him. I think he feels like he let the team down last year with that 25 game or so suspension that he had. And so I think he's going to come in and really have a kind of a year he had a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, when he was a legitimate 6 man of the year candidate. So I could see him being a closer. But I think the main guys, Giannis and the triumvirate of AJ and then KPJ and GT2, and then you kind of pick and choose in terms of how you want to match up with that 5th spot along with Giannis. So that's the starting lineup. That's the closing lineup.
Wow.
We got to think of a name for that triumvirate. It's like, and if you throw Bobby in there too, sometimes like you got a bunch of juniors. But
right.
Yeah. I'll leave that to you, Marcus. You came up with Derry Bird, so you're the.
I think I said the juniors are better than the seniors or something like that.
Right.
I guess
better than so many juniors. Yep.
Chris, what about you, man?
Well, I guess I want to kind of I'm figuring out how do you keep Bobby off the floor in closing time? Like, he flourishes. Has a lot of value in offensive glass, corner threes, and then those Bobby sort of runs, that energy, it lifts you up, especially when you're in a dogfight. But again, I like it, MJ. I love what you're saying specifically about your lineup about Kuz, like this idea about Ryan Rollins being in the starting lineup. I understand where you're coming from. I just disagree. I think it'll be the triumvirate with Kevin Porter Jr. on the ball, AJ, Gary Trent, Giannis, Myles Turner. I just think that energy kind of showed and proved something, that there's something there with that group, and I think that they're gonna put themselves in a position in training camp to be that unit that starts the season.
Yeah, and you think that's the closing lineup too? Sorry, Marcus.
Well, as far as closers, I think Bobby's in there. So I don't know if you go big with Giannis. I don't know if it's possible, but I'm just trying to figure out how, because I got to have Bobby and I got to have Giannis in that closing lineup. So it's like, is it a deal where you go off the field of how Myles Turner is doing? Do you pick and choose? You guys know Doc. I mean, it's like, he's probably going to go off a vibe and flow as far as that big, because you have to have in a closing situation, I think 3 perimeter defenders, at least that guys that could, move, cut, guard, face guard, do things that could be game changing. So I don't know. I feel like it'd be the triumvirate and Giannis and Bobby.
Yeah, well, and this is the thing about me and Chris. So we talk basketball all the time. Earlier today, we were talking, and Chris found something somewhere where they thought Andre Jackson Jr. might be a guy that could be a candidate. Now, I disagree because of his offense and just knowing Doc and Doc's attitude toward Andre's offensive, I won't even say shortcomings. He shot 38% from the three. Just this lack of aggressiveness, lack of ability to finish and looking to finish. Not that he can't, just that he won't and he doesn't.
Pass under the rim, right?
Yeah, but the thing about the point being, so then Ryan Rollins, when you look up his numbers as a starter last year, he started 19 games last year, averaged 10 points a game. Outstanding. 6'3", 6'4", with a 6'10" wingspan. Great defensive player. That's why they said Andre Jackson Jr. might be a better fit, somebody to play defense. Ryan Rollins is a lockdown defender with 10 points a game. And then you look at his shooting numbers, 49% from the field, 45% on almost 4 3-point attempts per game during that stretch, 85 to 86% of his free throws. And then even more of the intangibles, just knowing Darvin Ham's son, Donovan Ham. I've developed a great relationship with him. He calls me Unc, whatever that means. And hey, what's up, Unc?
Yeah, badge of honor. It's a badge of honor.
I know. I'm just being silly. Happy Father's Day, Unc. But he shared with me that last season that Ryan Rollins, he is so focused after every home game, he would go to Fiserv Forum after everybody's left, he and Donovan Ham, and make, not shoot. And Kris can attest to this. He would make. I mean, it's tough to shoot 250 jumpers, but to make 250 after you've played a game gives me an idea that this young man is really, really hungry to come in and make a name for himself. So that's why I wrote with Ryan. I mean, he played well as a starter last year, and I could see Doc believing in him to start this season.
I'm glad you brought Rollins up because I'm not sure how much we'll get a chance to talk to him, but one of the things I think most optimistic about with him, and I want to know your take on this. I mean, do you think how close do you think he is, or is he already this type of player to like that point of attack defender that the Bucks have been lacking since like Drew Holiday, Javon Carter went? How close is he to filling that type of role, do you think?
I think he's right there. I think he has not only the physical tools, but I think that he's earned the trust and the confidence in Doc, and he made enough plays. I mean, he made some pretty highlight reel worthy plays that kind of went under the radar. I mean, some blocks, some amazing steals. I mean, I just think he's poised to make this leap. I watched there's a video of him over in Spain working out with some player development people. So, he's fine-tuning his game. And then as a young player, when you know that, hey, if you're a young player looking at the Bucks organization right now, you're like, dang, you look at the rosters, 12 guys or whatever, 10 guys under the 26 or younger, something crazy. You're like, wait a minute, this is a movement. This is a real thing here. I really do have an opportunity. This isn't the Bucks of last year with the vet thing where I got to really feel like, I don't know what's going to happen. Although I did start 19 games, I have a better opportunity to play, to start, and to make a meaningful contribution. I think that mindset coming into this year, he's going to unlock and unleash a lot of his talent this summer through hard work, through his work and through his preparation, like through his dedication to his craft. Like MJ's talking about, the 250 is probably up about 1,200 to 1,500 now, and he's probably putting in obscene levels of work. And I can't tell you like this is the formula that works for everybody, but when you got a 6'10" wingspan and the IQ and the ball skills that Ryan Rollins has, and you're doing this, and then you're going to have the confidence to Doc, I think it's a formula for success.
Well, now he may not be the killer canine that Goldie is right here.
Wow, look at him.
I was about to say we have another guest on the podcast. You have to introduce.
Watch out! All I got to do is say the magic word, and he'll attack everybody on this screen. Get out of here!
Oh man!
Amazing.
But
don't
Ryan,
stick him on us.
Ryan has some dog in him. Ryan's got some dog in him. I'm a big believer that you really have to understand. This is where Doc, I think, really is really good. Understanding kind of where a player is in his career. What is Rollins? 23, 24, maybe. Yeah. I understand. Kind of he's been through some adversity. G League guy, Toledo, under the radar as a college player, high school player. Wasn't one of the blue chippers like some of these guys are. So I just believe, and then last year when Doc started him. Those 19 games, he had 3 or 4 games, at least 3, where he had career highs back to back to back. And you could just see him becoming basketball mature before your very eyes. And I just think, as Kris mentioned, the work that he's put in this offseason, the confidence that he gained, last year during the regular season that he's going. He was a guy that no one I hadn't heard of, and so when I saw him out here in Los Angeles, Orange County, actually at training camp, I went to Milton Newton and said, man, this dude here has a chance to make this team. He went out there and just took a position. He just not dominated, but stood out. Let me put it that way. Stood out in training camp. And I think I may have tweeted about it a couple of times and talked about it early on. He was a guy that you could just see was ready to make a gigantic leap and to be a rotation player. And so if he continues to progress and he's put in the work to do so, he's not satisfied right now. He got the new contract, but it's still a lot of improvement, a lot of things to accomplish for him. I just think he's going to come out this year, and and if he does, that's good news for the Bucks. And speaking of the triumvirate, just quickly, I thought the one thing that hurt us in Indiana as we started this triumvirate because of their analytics, they were just off the page in terms of how productive they were. We saw them at late stages of game against the Pistons, some other teams, just single-handedly, the three of them. If you can do it single-handedly with three guys, but the three of them, that three-legged deal coming out there on the floor, they gave us so much energy. I'd almost like to keep that energy as a plug-in, and coming off the bench, second quarters, late in games. Now I'm gonna throw this at you just to change the whole dynamic of the game. And I thought when we got in trouble with the Pacers, they played so well for so long that the Pacers, as teams, were able to do. It's hard to play the same way in entire 48-minute games because coaching staffs and players are so good. They make the adjustments. And they figure out what they can do against your strength, and they start to exploit some of those strengths to their advantage. And so it's just, I think this could be a great kind of energizer lineup if Doc chooses to go this way. But we'll see. That's what makes it fun. We'll see what happens.
I have a question for both of you. I'm just so we can kind of set the barometer. How deep of a roster of a rotation do you think that Doc will have to start the season as far as players? How many guys will get meaningful minutes to start the season?
I guess is probably I think he might go a little bigger and might go to 10 or 11. I want to say at the beginning of last year he was doing 10, but what was interesting is in the playoffs, I'm pretty sure he had 10 men from game one. I mean, Jericho Sims was involved. Of course, Rollins was starting that game. So and with the depth that they've assembled, I mean, looking at with as a Gary Harris, I mean, he's someone they want to get a look at too. So they've got to probably go about 10 or 11 deep, I would think.
Let me ask you this, Van. Is Gary Harris an upgrade over PC?
I don't know. It's Gary Harris ever scored 43 points and
I was unbelievable. I'm just saying, from your at their stage, at both of their stages in their career, where you see out of Gary Harris last year in Orlando, what he can do, limited on offensively, but defensively, whatever. Is he an upgrade, a legitimate upgrade over PC?
I think maybe in terms of physical aspects of defense, just because he's a bit younger, but we know Connaughton had some of those lower body injuries, like calf injuries, and I know Harris has had some too in recent years, but just an extra year or two less on those legs, I think. That makes enough of a difference.
Yeah.
Well, I think whatever advantages Gary Harris may have physically, he loses those in terms of chemistry and cohesion and comfortability of Pat being around Giannis and being around Bobby, being around these guys, and even Doc. I mean, it was funny. Andre Jackson's rookie year, was it the playoffs? I forget the scenario, but we're on the plane and Doc goes with Pat over Andre Jackson Jr. And I kind of teased Doc. I was like, yeah, you forget about all that frenetic energy. I said, you want that tried and true, know what I'm going to get when I put you in there. He's like, there's a lot to be said for that. A lot to be said for knowing what you're going to get out of a guy.
Yeah.
And that's what Pat Connaughton brings to the table. Now, Gary Harris, he may be that kind of guy too, but it's such an unknown right now for me to say that it's an upgrade. He could very well be. I loved him. I love the Michigan State Izzo tough kind of back, and he's a guy in his career who is looking like Cole Anthony, looking to try and elevate, his status, whatever that happens to be, a role player coming off the bench. But I agree with you, Van. I think the Bucks, Doc has got to find which guys he can count on during the early part, middle part of the season, kind of heading into the post All-Star break. He's got to figure out, he's got to, it's so many new faces and new things, new plugins, new systems, new everything else that the Bucks will be trying this year. No Dame, all kind of newness going on, that it's going to take some time for Doc to kind of figure out what works best.
But MJ, what's the best way to stabilize like a situation like that? Because everybody's expecting the thing to kind of be not figured out, but like they need to be on the same page from day one. There needs to be a positive Bucks product that has a defined identity, I say, from day one. The Bucks aren't an organization, in my opinion, that has time to like try to figure that out. It's like, they're championship bound. Set the tone from day one. This is what we're on. This is how we're going to play. This is what it is. And it starts with Giannis. When you have Giannis, you have that luxury to come out with that type of approach. We running everything through Giannis, and we're about to fine tune and refine the situation with Giannis. The quick thing on Andre Jackson, I forgot where, I think it was a Twitter. Someone was trying to make the case for him starting at the small forward because they point to the fact that, you don't want KPJ basically to be your full-time primary guy defensively on the opposing one. If he's going to be out there, you need to put him on somebody that he can guard, apparently. And the other thing was Andre Jackson, his handle in open floor, like it's a weapon within itself when he's on that in a couple of dribbles and a pass. So he does actually help the pace. But this was a random Twitter that I'm not going to give any credence to. Yeah, I just did though. Sorry.
Andre, I mean, he's at 22% turnover percentage now. Ryan Rollins, his is a little higher for me at 15%, just in the 27th percentile. Kevin Porter Jr., 24th percentile for it. See, and that's
yeah.
To answer your question, Chris, how do you get that cohesiveness? Who can play the best off of Giannis? Who fits in the best in this kind of point Giannis mindset? Now, my old broadcast partner, Jim Paskey, who I love and adore, he made a profound statement once, not even on a broadcast. We're just talking basketball like we do all the time, Chris. But Jim said, he says he believes in positionless basketball in every position except one. That's the point guard. He said you need a point guard out there. Right. And I talked to Lloyd Walton. Lloyd's got a great documentary, Van, called the Education of Lucky Lloyd, that's going to be coming out in fall. That's exceptional. But Lloyd, he shot me a text when I talked about point Giannis, just how that's not going to work against good teams. It's not going to work in the playoffs. You can't have it'll work regular season against average teams, a little bit above average teams. But when you're playing against the best of the best in the playoffs, teams get a chance to game plan for you, to send specific schemes at you, to do certain things to you. The pressure, the tension, everything kind of elevates. Not that that's going to bother Giannis. I'm talking about the impact it can have on some of these other guys, as we saw with Kevin Porter Jr. to start the playoffs. He finally found his footing. So anyway, it's fascinating. Jock has that's got a lot of work to do. But the good thing about it to me, and we've talked about this, Chris, when you had a situation in Boston where you had about 9-10, outside of the KGs and Paul Pierce and Rondos, but the Posies and the PJ Browns and the Tony Allens and the Big Baby Davises and Eddie Houses. Doc found a way to make good use of a long rotation. I think all through the playoffs, if I remember correctly, he was playing 8, 9, 10 guys in the playoffs. So I think this is something that Doc is able to work with.
Yeah, I think this is a neat segue into kind of, because we started to get into these weeds a little bit. I'm going to call them audible here, and let's move on. The Bucks have Myles Turner now, and Chris was talking about an identity for this team, and how there's not maybe a whole lot of time to just set it or develop it. And how would you have this group of players, this roster right now, play on both ends of the floor?
Well, I think the one thing in the Bucks' favor in terms of identity, in terms of adjustments to a new player, a new prominent player like a like a Myles Turner. It reminds me, Kris, of the line in Hoop Dreams, Coach Pingatore, when Gates is leaving out of the office and he says, one walks in, one walks out, another one walks in. He's got Myles, he's got Brook, two very similar players, except Myles is almost a decade younger, but similar styles in terms of pick and pop. And forget about the rim protection. I'm talking about offensively. Myles is probably a better decision maker on the short roll, catching it on the move, making decisions, finishing on the move. He's younger, he's spry, he's dunking on people. Brook, a little bit more of a lumberer, get his feet under him to really explode and be effective. So I think that transition won't be as difficult. I think that'll be a seamless transition for the Bucks again. So that's my opinion, because of Myles Turner's similarity in style, and he shot 39.5, almost 40% from the 3-point line. For a guy that size that protects the rim like that, to be that effective from distance, the way he shoots the basketball makes difference. Now, that being said, let me throw Brook his flowers too.
Sure.
Brook's size, Brook is 7'1", 290. Myles is 6'10", 6'11", 250. It's a different physicality element that the Bucks won't have without Brook inside. But Brook, you think about his game, did he, was he able to overpower guys all the time? I think their length is going to be the common denominator in terms of contest at the rim, at which Brook was the best in the league at contesting 2-point shots by far. He would be 200 contests greater than the next best guy over the last 5 or 6 years. If Myles could just come somewhere close to that, the Bucks have got themselves a real find.
Let me ask you this, Van. Do you have any data on Giannis Brook pick and rolls last year, or Giannis and big pick and rolls?
I'm afraid I don't. But
or could have a sense of how often they did that?
I see it a lot.
Yeah,
I really don't recall. Brook's most common screening partner, I always thought, was Dame.
So here's my thing with next year and the offensive style of play. I'm wondering if we're going to see some Turner, Giannis pick and roll, some action, middle of the floor, bring them way out, spacing the two bigs. So you're involving the bigs in pick and roll early on, and you're spacing your shooters. It's going to be interesting to see if Doc experiments with that. The other thing is I feel like this is the type of season where Giannis could really look to average and lead the league in blocks, or do something that he hasn't done as far as average the most blocks and steals that he's ever averaged in his career. I think Turner's young enough, his activity level is high enough defensively to where now Giannis can flourish in a rover, free safety, Mike Singletary, middle linebacker type role, where you're being defensive anchor, KG. KG on Boston, defensive anchor type guy. And then I just think it can open up some things defensively for Giannis, and that would be a devastating development for the rest of the NBA if Giannis is able to really unlock and unleash his true potential on the defensive end.
Here's another question, kind of piggybacking off what Marcus was talking about between the differences, similarities between Turner and Lopez. I always found what Lopez did to be so unique, because I think it was more of a mental thing than a physical thing. It was an instinctual thing, him being able to play that drop zone to be so effective. And I guess one thing I learned during those Lopez years is that, not just anyone, I don't think, can do that. I remember when Serge Ibaka came in, I thought, well, okay, this dude should be able to, he's a former, maybe, I don't know if he made an all-defense team, but he's certainly that caliber. And of course, he blocked tons of shots. He can probably, execute in that scheme as well. But I mean, there were some physical things with him, his back and everything, and he couldn't. I mean, I always looked at Turner as for years thinking well, that could be someone who could do what Lopez does by the time he gets old. And I think it's like Marcus was saying, there's the physical differences, but he's still big, Turner. I mean, does he have can he run that kind of drop if they want to do it again? I mean, they'll probably be a little bit more versatile with their defensive schemes, but do you guys think it's more of a mental thing that allowed Brook Lopez to succeed in that for so long?
Well, I think Brook, and he kind of picked it up when Coach Bud was here. That drop, he played that drop during those times better than anybody in the league. And he had this ability to not allow the roller to get behind him. And I talked to him extensively about that. It's always kind of, you just got to have vision of both. And if you don't have got vision of one and not the other, you're going to get hurt each and every time. So it's always about trying to position yourself to keep vision of both. Here comes the ball, here comes the roller. And very rarely, every once in a blue moon I can remember, but very rarely did he allow that lob to a Capella or somebody like that over the top. I think Myles has a similar capability. Now, a lot of that is instincts, innate, it's experience. Brook being around, for as long as he's been in this game. I think Myles, that's something that he can learn. But to your point, and it's something that Adrian Griffin tried to do, and that switch Brook out onto that smaller ball handler, which was a total problem, to the point where Giannis and Kris had to go in and tell him, look, this ain't working. We need to get Brook back and drop where he belongs. I think Myles, watching tape on Myles Turner, he's still at 29 years old. He's in his prime. He's got the foot speed. That's the thing about Myles Turner. He is a really, really good athlete. He's a good athlete out on the floor, away from the basket. He's not a guy like Brook that you bring him out too far. Now you're rolling the dice that it may work, it may not, and oftentimes, more often than not, it didn't work. I think Myles has that ability where it gives you more flexibility. I think they'll play the drop a lot. I think he'll learn. And really, and Darvin Ham is here, and he worked with Brook a lot on that drop back in the Budenholzer days. I think Myles will be taught how to do it like the Bucks want it done, but also you get the flexibility of getting a big that can blitz a screen and stay with a ball handler and pressure him out to midcourt and then scramble back. This guy's activity, when you watch Myles Turner on video, his activity is off the chain in terms of how much court coverage he covers, not only defensively, but he and Giannis, you guys talked about that big screen. Myles Turner, and he did it most of the time with Halliburton, but his ability to go screen, you slip into space and then make something happen, either a three-point shot or, driving it to the basket, attacking the closeout, that's going to be an element that the Bucks have not had in terms of a player that big and that mobile.
We were just talking about it, MJ. We called it our guest, KOC, Kevin O'Connor, he called it the connective tissue, right? So at that position, those connective guys, the good on the short roll, can operate that with the little floater or the 8 to 12 footer, or shoot a jumper, but or catch it and re-hand off. You have to have a certain type of ambidextrous skill set, in my opinion, to be able to be fluid in that role. And I think Myles Turner does have that. To your point about his foot speed, MJ, he has definitely shown that with Indiana. They play that style, especially on the offensive end, that ask him to do a lot, move a lot. And so to me, that is going to be an amazing development for the Bucks offense in any type of Giannis and Turner pick and roll. He's quick enough to move. He's not slow lumbering. So now you really have to pick your poison decisions as a defender.
Yeah, I read at one point last year, and this probably was true through the whole season, but like the best direct pick and roll combination in terms of, I guess, offensive rating was Tyrese Halliburton and Myles Turner. If not the best, one of the best. So I'm thinking about how it can be like Kevin Porter Jr. on ball working with that, because I think he's got that creative ability and like the driving ability to make that effective, and he can pass it a little. But yeah, we're so used to in the last few years seeing like Giannis screening more, but having like that big pick and roll that you were talking about, Kris. Yeah, I think that could be exciting with Giannis on the ball, and I think that's a neat way to go to our next one, because Point Giannis is back. we're back to Point Giannis after so many years, and if he's going to be in that combo with Myles, like we gotta he can be racking up those dimes, right? So we're going to predict Giannis's stat line, and we'll do points, assists, rebounds, stocks. Sounds like, Kris, you think he might hit some career highs in that, and then his usage, because it did dip a little bit with Dame. He was at 38.8 in his last year with Drew Holiday, and that was also similar to what he had in 2020, which was his second MVP year. Those were both league-leading usages, around 38%. And then he dipped around more 30, 35%. So, imagine maybe that ticks up a little bit. But if that happens, what are those where those counting stats, those MVP looking stats, gonna turn out to be. What do you think?
Yeah, Kris.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead, man.
No, you go ahead, brother.
Come on,
Do I have to
go ahead,
choose?
brother.
Do I have to choose?
Come on, brother.
Marques, go first. Go first.
Well, this was a tough one because Giannis has had basically 4 straight years of 30 points a game. That one year, it was 29.9 before he started the string of 30 plus. And not everybody, a lot of people are thinking like, he's got to average, let this be the gap year where he averages 33, 34. But I really think his numbers may go down a bit. Remember his first MVP year, he averaged 27.7, just under 28 points a game. A lot of rebounds, 12, 13 rebounds a game, whatever. So I think 27 plus, 27 and a half, somewhere around there, 11 and a half rebounds a game.
Okay.
The assists jump up from 6 plus, whatever it was this year, to like 7.5 assists a game. And then blocks and steals. He was like under a steal a game this past year. I agree with Kris. I think he's going to be a lot more active. I initially had him for 2.5 stocks, but I kind of did what they do with the jobs report, where you kind of you look at it and revise it. I brought it back down.
I don't think we can look at that jobs report anymore, though. I don't know if we can trust that anymore, but go ahead.
Exactly. But I brought him down from 2.5 to like 2.3, a minimal deal in a way, but he averaged under a steal a game last year. I think that goes up to 1.3. So, and then his usage, that also was an interesting deliberation mentally for me. I had him land at 35 to 37. I'm going to say it goes up to 36 to 37% usage rate. Just, when your usage is what assists, it's turnovers, it's points, it's shot attempts.
Free
and
throws too, yeah.
I think with his assist, and he's always going to get to the line 10 times a game, but with the assist increasing, I think, that would mean that his usage rate would probably increase just a little bit, tick up just a little bit also. So I got a little higher usage than this past season.
Okay. So you don't think his usage
bad, yeah, Kris.
But you don't think his usage goes down a little bit with KPJ out there? Or you think it's going to be too many possessions in like starting third quarter, we're getting the ball to Giannis, he's got the first 5 possessions. You think Doc is going to make it a concerted effort to make sure he has the ball in his hands more?
And Van, you may have the stats in front of you, but with Dame, it didn't go down as much as I thought it would go down. With Dame as a true kind of quote unquote point guard, lead guard more, but still, I thought Dame would be handling the basketball and be involved in cutting down Giannis's usage. But and with Doc just blatantly saying, point Giannis, ball's going to be in his hands, he's going to be the guy who's going to initiate. Okay. I just feel like and it's not like James Harden 40% usage rate where he's just it's just this heliocentric offensive approach for 48 straight minutes, but it's going to be in his hands enough where I believe that his usage will tick up just a bit. What you got?
So for me, I mean, it's right around where you're at. I'll be honest with you. As far as points per game, 28.1 rebounds per game, right around 12. Assists are going to go up 6.5 or whatever it was last season. I think, obviously, to echo your sentiments, yes, it's going to go up, but I think it's going to be around 8.5. Steals and blocks, I guess stocks, right? What, 4 stocks a game, steals and blocks a game, 2 and 2. Can he get it done? I'm challenging Giannis. This is my personal challenge. 4 stocks a game. As far as usage,
like Olajuwon numbers, right? Yeah.
He has Olajuwon talent. Like, come on. I mean, he can be Olajuwon. I've always felt, and I'm not going to go on some crazy rant, but I've always felt that Giannis could show us a lot more defensively, as far as he could be up in the square, he could be more active. He carries so much of the offensive load. No, he could do both. I feel like he could do both, and I hopefully he does, because I think it's going to help the championship opportunities. I never forget, who did he block in 2021?
DeAndre Ayton.
Wow, my God. I'll never forget that play. That's the type of stuff that made me expect to see Giannis doing stuff like that more. A little kind of pet peeve of mine. But anyway, usage, MJ, I see what you're saying. Definitely agree with it. I didn't agree with it at first. You kind of sold me on the fact that I think it'd be over 35% for sure.
Yeah, and to your point, about Giannis and the stocks increasing. See, the Bucks, I don't know where they rank in turnover percentage defensively, but it's in the bottom third. I mean, it's 20, whatever, way low. That's when I talked about the triumvirate and how they've increased it to like 15% turnover percentage, which is in the 90 plus percentile. But I think one thing that Greg Buckner, the defensive coach for this team, with the youth, and we talked about this, Kris, there's a youth movement with these Milwaukee Bucks. And with that infusion of youth, where should it manifest itself? Ideally, it'd be like creating turnovers, being more aggressive defensively. You don't have to conserve as much. And to that point, I think Giannis, what you asked of him is to be more active defensively and not have to score as much. And you're hoping that some of these other guys, Gary Trent Jr. and Kevin Porter Jr., can give you that 13 to 17, 18 points a game between there somewhere. 3 or 4 guys landed in there. Kuzma landed in there, where you don't need Giannis to have to score 35 points a game to have a legitimate chance to win. And you get that done by improving your defense and improving your aggression on defense and turning these guys loose a little bit more, because you got the youth to do it. You had an excuse. You had an old team between Chris and Brooke and Pat Connaughton, these older guys. You don't want to wear them out with all the pressure and all the exertion defensively. Now you got some depth, you got some youth. You got to use that stuff, man.
Yeah, this is thinking about like the triumvirate, as we're calling them, and how they can pick up a little bit of that scoring slack. It just makes me think of in previous years, especially when Middleton was healthy, like you didn't worry so much about the team when Giannis wasn't out there, and when Dame was on the team as well. Like when Giannis is hitting the pine, like the Bucks can still play pretty well. And now with just this new roster, like how do you guys think the Bucks can succeed in those non-Giannis minutes? Like those guys can step up, with their scoring for one.
Yeah, no question. But I think it's also, hey, who's your best non-Giannis minutes, most reliable guy as far from a scoring perspective? Bobby Portis, in my opinion. So now in the non-Giannis minutes, we got to have production from Bobby, 8 to 10 points, 5 boards, some activity defensively, and the non-Giannis minutes are now a positive for the Bucks. And so if it's not Bobby, then it can be Myles. Myles can get going a little bit. But then to your point about, and I keep mentioning the bigs because I'm kind of a guy that feels like if they can get it going, it's going to open up stuff as far as for shooters, because now guys got to help. But I feel like if those guys in the non-Giannis minutes can continue to put pressure on the rim in some shape, form, or fashion, I think the Bucks can win those non-Giannis minutes with their current roster. Whoever's out there, whether who's ever out there, they can win those minutes.
Yeah, and I agree. I think Bobby Porter, I'm looking at his numbers now. 14-8 last year, which is solid for him. I talked about the suspension and games missed, the motivation he's going to have coming into this year. But, his career high is 14-6 and 21-22. I look for Bobby to have a career year, especially from that very point that you made, man, about who's going to be the guy to carry the load. We had, you could stagger the minutes with Dame last year. So now it's Dame time, kind of when Giannis is out of the game and Dame is the focal point. That's going to be the challenge for the coaching staff. And as Kris talked about, when you look up and down this roster, which one of these guys now, you still got a Kyle Kuzma. I keep throwing that name out there, who averaged 20 plus points a game for a couple of years with Washington. And this is the big question. And to my last point on Kuz, a lot of people are like, he wasn't successful. Maybe look to move him. The only way you move him and get something decent in return is if you showcase him and he plays some really good basketball early. Now, if he plays well enough, of course, maybe you keep him. But that factors into me, in my mind, in terms of how much he's going to be on the floor. And based on what he has been doing, what we've witnessed, Kris and I, the guy he's working out with, Clint Parks, who's a good friend of ours from LA, the stuff that he's doing. I saw him in Milwaukee, just working really, really hard each and every day at the practice facility. I just expect him, and Kuz in a bad year, I'll give you 15 points a game, where he is right now in his career. I think in a good year, he's still got an 18, 19 point per game season in him. And so that'll help alleviate some of the lack of scoring when Giannis is not on the floor.
I mean, we hope. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Oh, no. Finish your point, please.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was going to move. I mean, I think that this is kind of a natural segue into the next the next point, which is about like who can make a leap, statistically. And I figured, maybe our answers would be like someone like Rollins or a young guy, maybe even like Green, getting more minutes, his production increases. But I mean, now thinking about it and hearing what Marcus was saying, I mean, yeah, like might need some more from Portis, scoring wise, and Kuzma, yeah, like a more significant impact on the team's fortunes, than he did last year. That's kind of what we're looking for, like what I mean by terms of like a leap. So I mean, it could be one of those guys, but who do you guys think is gonna make that next step?
Well, yeah, I mean, to the point about who's going to make a leap, we're kind of discussing guys. I want to make it clear. I'm not, when I talk about Bobby being the guy in the non-Giannis minutes, I'm not overlooking Kevin Porter Jr. Like in a perfect world where I know what I'm going to get, he's the guy. He's the guy that could actually make the biggest leap. He's going to be the guy. He could be the guy in those non-Giannis minutes to be that offensive fire plug of spark plug that, like, the Bucks need, and make plays defensively. Like he could be a 20+ point a game guy, but his turnovers got to stay low, and he's got to minimize his lows as a player. To me, he's the type of guy that maximizes his lows. Things become an avalanche, and you make one mistake that turns into 5 in a row, and then you're out the game. And so if he can minimize those bouts with, bad play, unstable play, stuff that's not befitting of a guy that should be at a 25% plus usage with the ball all the time, like he's got to play with championship habits. And so he could, and so for me, he's the actual guy, but I don't have utmost confidence in him. So I will tell you the guy, that I have confidence in. So that's why I said Bobby. But for me, outside of KPJ, AJ Green, to me, he has to make a huge leap trying to get starter quality caliber minutes, earn those type of minutes, and then make a leap defensively. But then offensively, movement, shooting, it's going to be very important for this team. He unlocks a lot of spacing for Giannis. I think that he's the guy, in my opinion, that, along with KPJ, but AJ, if they can make some leaps there, oh man, the Bucks are going to be in a good position.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Ryan Rollins springs to mind right away.
It's like it's a lot of guys, right, MJ? It's like a lot of guys are poised next season or in the driver's seat to have like a leap from where they were this year.
Well, and see, and to me, this is where I was going with this too, is that you don't count out Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony averaged 16 points a game 3 years ago. His numbers have been down. I mean, he's kind of fell out of favor in Orlando, fell out of the rotation, I guess, between Suggs and Black and some of these other bigger guards. They've gone with them. But God, I mean, he plays with such energy. He's skilled offensively. He's got a floater game. I mean, it's guys like that when we talk about contributors to this team's success that we're just kind of overlooking right now. But he could come in and have a career year, and a career year for him in terms of just the last couple of years when he's been down a bit, and average 12 or 13 a game. So I just think there's a lot of ways that this team can go. In terms of who's going to, when Kris and I talked about Gary Trent Jr., you were talking about Kris, I don't know if you still stand by that, but you think he's got the chance to average 17, 18, possibly more, depending on the minutes that he gets and how Doc uses him, and based on how he finished the season, not the 30+ points in game 5 per se, but just the consistency that he showed down the stretch and knocking down shots. I mean, he started off shooting in the mid-20s from the 3-point line over the first month or so and wound up at 42% or whatever it was. So that gives you an idea of how well he shot the basketball. So, and you're going to see some carry. He's on another 1+1 type of deal where this is another big year, another make good year for him. And he's got a year under Doc under his belt. He's going to be more comfortable. And I really expect him to come out and really, really, show some carryover from what he showed last year down the stretch.
Yeah, and these are the type of conversations, though, that make me think about like why probably the national media and those on the outside that just look at the roster and take by the names and just kind of hate and don't really give it the due. Because yes, like when we're talking about this, it makes me question, like we don't have a defined number two, and who's our number 3? Like who's our, like if you're gonna who's our defined number 2 for the Bucks? Yeah. As far as is it Myles Turner? Is it Giannis and Myles? You know what I mean? Is like he the defined number 2? Is it Myles and Giannis and Bobby, Giannis, KPJ. Like somebody's gonna have to step up, fill that role. I think it's 3. I think you need 3 guys on your quad in order to compete for a championship. You need 3 dudes that are defined. You know exactly what you're going to get night in, night out from those 3 dudes, and that's what it is.
Trent in Toronto, like there is some historical precedent for this kind of leap, or I guess this stat line at least. Like he was averaging 17, 18 points a game in his first 2 full seasons there, and on much more significant volume, he was averaging about 16 a game. I'm sorry, not 16 a game, 16 per 36 minutes. And last year was 12.5 field goal attempts, that is. So the usage drops off, the volume drops off. And if those are increasing next year, yeah, I don't see any reason why he couldn't be that kind of scorer he was in Toronto. Just, I think that those were one of those years I think they made the playoffs. I think that was the first year he was there, but then things kind of started going south there. So Gary Trent, definitely a popular choice for maybe like biggest leap on the team, but kind of leads us into our next one, which is talking about him and the triumvirate, and also adding another guy we've been discussing, Kyle Kuzma, to it. I want you to rank these guys in terms of their importance to the season. We've got Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., Kyle Kuzma, and AJ Green. Who rank them in terms of their importance to the season?
Well, I had Kyle as number 1 just because if he can bounce back. He bounces back and averages 17, 18 points a game. He's playing like Kuz with the confidence he can play with. He's knocking down the catch and shoot jumper. He's attacking and finishing. He's playing the versatility that he plays with on defense. I mean, that goes a long way in terms of, as Kris is talking about, trying to solidify who's going to be this second option, this consistent second option. So, and that that can go either way. Obviously, I mean, I'm not. It's not like, oh yeah, Kuz is going to have a great year. Who knows? But I think his importance to this team, if he can come out and have a great year, I think he's number 1. Number 2, Kevin Porter Jr. I think, I saw him firsthand give the Bucks 50 points in Houston, so I know what's in there, and I'm a big believer that when I see something like that, and not to score that kind of level of scoring, obviously, but he's got some serious offensive game. 3 for me was Gary Trent Jr. As Kris talked about, he's a guy, you mentioned him, 16, 17 points a game in Toronto. Big year, another make good year for him. He rolled his dice once again with the Bucks. So I think Doc's going to respect that and put him in a lot of positions to succeed. And then the last guy would be AJ Green, just because I had to have AJ fourth, because AJ to me is as consistent and as solid as you want him to be. So I don't anticipate any deviation from his ability to knock down outside shooting. I mean, he shot plus 40% last year, and what was he last year? AJ was 44%, 53% from the corner. So I expect more of the same from that. And but the other guys, I believe, will in terms of importance, Kyle, KPJ, GT2, you get close to career years from those 3 guys. Now all of a sudden, those questions about what do you do when Giannis is not on the floor, who's going to be the number 2, the number 3, they solve themselves.
Yeah, I have some of the same guys, but different levels of importance. My number 1 guy for me is KPJ. If KPJ can fulfill his potential, be the best player that he could be for the Bucks this year on the offensive, defensive end, I feel like, the Bucks could compete for a title. It could be finals bound, but you need someone that can stabilize the offense. You lost Dame. We talked about what Paschke said, MJ, about positionless basketball, and the only place you want a guard that can run. And his pick and roll stuff is pretty solid over his career. With his usage going up, we got to see if that turnover rate can go down. Number 2, Myles Turner. Two-way guy. I like Myles a lot. Brooke was a big reason why the Bucks defensively were able to accomplish a lot of what they were able to accomplish. I think Turner could fill a similar role. He did it with the Pacers. Number 3, GTJ, and number 4, AJ Green. And it's just because of the shooting aspect. Like, those are probably your two most accomplished shooters. TP, Taurean Prince is in there too, but those guys in particular, and their ability to movement, shoot, come off screens, knock down threes, stretch the defense, and then AJ's seems to really play well with Giannis, as does Gary, and what Gary left off doing. So I think 3 and number 4 will be those two, Gary and AJ, and then Kuz, number 5. I feel like Kuz has got to kind of redeem himself for last season, and I think he'll have an opportunity to. I think we'll see him. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this lineup plays out, because as you opened the starting lineup talk, when you mentioned Kuz, like when you think about it and how Doc moves and things like that, like I'm looking at it straight on paper, I wouldn't start Kuz at the 3. He'd be my guy off the bench. I look to do something differently, but when you really think about it, I think that's his ability to lock in and be playing well from day one is going to be super important for the Bucks' success next season.
What, Marcus, remind me, you had Kuzma, then you had was it Porter or Trent?
Yeah, Gary Trent 3 and AJ 4. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like where would you? All right, how would you slot in Turner among that 4 and make it a list of 5 like Kris did?
Well, I mean, so this list is what in terms of guys
importance to the season.
When
for
I think
for a title, right? We were trying to win a championship, right? Okay.
Yeah. As the question, rank these players in terms of their importance. Now, I'm trying to look at my notes here. Was Myles on this list? I didn't. Did I?
I didn't put him on the list.
Okay. That's why I don't have. Okay, that's what
yeah. Kris just freelanced a little bit. That's okay. We like to improvise.
I'm a freelancer.
Yeah, I start with Giannis and Bobby Portis. There's other guys but with the guys that you gave us. But yeah, Myles is obviously important. And the thing about Myles is that I think 2 years ago, before they got Siakam, pre-Siakam, he was up around 17, 18 points a game. And I think this is an opportunity for him to not, to be a 16, 17, maybe 18. This is an opportunity for him to be I think when I think about it, Kris, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the appealing things about changing scenery and moving from Indiana to Milwaukee was this opportunity to be a little bit more of a focal point. I think he may have felt lost between Nembhard and Siakam and Halliburton and all the things that he does in terms of usage and all that. Obi Toppin, but it's beautiful basketball. Don't get me? I love their team. I love the way they play.
But yeah,
you kind of feel like you're not contributing like you can. And now you got a chance to come in here with no Dame, get Brook out of here, second fiddle to Giannis, and maybe have a resurgence in terms of your offensive viability. I think he's thinking that way. We'll see how it plays out, what it plays out like on the floor. But I think that's his mindset. Like I get to get up some shots again. I get to be aggressive offensively again. That's a good thing.
Yeah, he was. He kind of torched the Bucks in those years prior to Siakam, like the early Carlisle years, or the Nate McMillan. It was Nate McMillan, right? And then it went to Carlisle. There's Nate Bjorkgren in between there.
Yeah.
Okay. So Turner has been kind of like wreaking havoc on from the perimeter with those pick and pops over the years. And he was I remember I actually went to a game in Indy, Bucks in that first Budenholzer year where that was that team with Oladipo, who was just coming back from injury. Bojan Bogdanovic, Thad Young,
Thad,
and Turner, and who was running point on that team? I can't quite recall because Oladipo wasn't starting, but that was low key kind of a tricky team. And they had Sabonis coming off the bench too. That was a little bit difficult for the Bucks to handle.
Back there, Brogdon was Malcolm Brogdon.
That was when Brogdon was still on the Bucks. It was the year before he went over there.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna move on to some quick hits for you guys. What do you think the Bucks' greatest strength and weakness are currently? Go ahead, Kris.
Greatest weakness is I feel like guys on the wing that could create, that's all to me. That's something that, and take care of the ball. Like, I think that's something that's kind of a flaw of the Bucks with the guys that are there, is the turnover situation. And then for me, it's like the creation. The biggest strengths, obviously, for me, I feel like this Giannis thing. Giannis with space, Giannis with a 5 that's going to space, and everybody's space, and Giannis going to have open floor with shooters. I think that's their biggest strength. I think defensive versatility is also going to be one of their biggest strengths. They're going to be able to do some things defensively with the youth and athleticism and length that they weren't probably haven't been able to accomplish since the championship year, in my opinion. It's going to be some stuff that they're going to be able to get done defensively this year.
Yeah, so weakness. And again, I thought a lot of it was because of the age of this team, the guys playing a lot of minutes, but the transition defense. I mean, you remember we played Portland twice, and them young studs just ran us off the field. I mean, between, who are these guys? Sharp and I mean, they just ran and jumped.
Simons,
Anthony Simons, and so those young teams were a problem for us in terms of transition. I don't think that's an issue anymore, but that was the weakness last year. I think that John Horst and Doc and Milton, they've done a great job of shoring up just by bringing in the young players, bringing in more youth. It's a young route. We were the second or third oldest team in the league last year, something. Now we're kind of middle of the pack. And so they've done a tremendous job of just getting younger. So I think that we were 22nd and off a live ball frequency, transition-wise, defensively, 26th in points per play, live. So transition got ugly at times and just looked nasty at times. And so I don't expect it to happen. And then to Chris's point, our greatest strength, just like last year, shooting. We were third in effective field goal percentage. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, 6 guys, 5 guys coming back that shot 40+%. I think Bobby is capable, as he did that one year when he was top 5 in 3-point percentage for a long stretch. So hopefully he'll get that mindset back and once again shoot above 40%. But our shooting is going to be a continued strength, and that works well. Which is always something that intrigues me when I hear people talk about if the Bucks can surround Giannis with enough shooting. But god dang, we got 5 or 6 guys. our bricklayer, Andre Jackson Jr. He shoots 38% from the 3. I mean,
it's facts, but it's facts.
He always surprises because he was up over 40 for most of the season last year. And you keep saying, he's a non-shooter. Well, you're non-shooter by volume, but man, you look at his percentage there. And then Giannis shot 47% on long mid-range jumpers last year. So even with Giannis, and when I say that, because he'll be in some ISO situations where that defenders we know going to back way off. But our shooting is the biggest strength of this team, and it'll continue to be this year.
Quick question before we move on. Where do you think this, because one of the things I would say as a strength right now is just like the front court. I think it's like the best. Do we think it's the best front court rotation in the league? Like you got Turner and Giannis starting, and then you got Bobby Portis behind him. You got Jericho Sims there. Pete Nance looked good in summer league. Like where does that rank among some of the elite front courts in the league? I mean, you got when Embiid's healthy, maybe him and I guess who's Paul George.
MJ was talking about MJ. You'd be perfect for this because you were just talking about those 2 big lineup front courts.
Yeah.
I mean, it proliferated they mentioned Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson, but that just seems to be. We had a good discussion about this recently with Kevin O'Connor.
Yeah.
Why more teams are going to it? It seemed like it was a kind of a dinosaur type of approach, but the bigs are so Chet Holmgren and Hartenstein.
Yes.
But you can play them together because Chet can play on the perimeter. Hartenstein can roll and float with the best of them, and so you're just seeing more of that. And I really believe, as you're talking about, Giannis and Myles Turner gives you those same elements. And as Kevin O'Connor mentioned, he loves the decision-making of Turner on the move with the basketball out away from the basket. A guy at 6'11" that can make good decisions, pass, shot, float, whatever it is, attack. That just gives you so much more options when you're trying to create some good offense.
Yeah, the big lineups are all physical freaks. Like those guys all are big and have unique kind of skill sets to where they can step out on the perimeter, but they can also close out and recover good enough or effective enough to warrant being out there for extended periods of time.
Yeah, there's Cleveland with Mobley and Allen. I think Orlando between Banchero and Wendell Carter.
Oh, yeah, Wendell Carter.
I mean that's a four kind of they got playing at the two, right?
Yeah, and they got some stuff.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, with Houston, we'll see too. I mean, like they'll probably be running some. They might be running like Steven Adams next to Şengün or something.
Yeah, and KD.
Yeah. We're going to be in the era of length. Like this next era is going to be some long looking dudes at every single position. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be interesting to watch because, how does the length match up against girth and speed and all that? But we'll see.
And that's why we position ourselves to be successful in this era of modern basketball. It's a different era now. It's all about young legs. OKC's kind of got the template. A lot, not so much big name Jalen Williams, big name superstars, but guys who are really, really good, who are young, who are athletic, who are long, who play hard, who have passion. And I think John Horst has done a great job of putting a roster together along with the bigs, the versatile mobile bigs. And that's why this Turner for Brook swap was so important for this team at this stage of NBA basketball right now. This is the new approach to NBA basketball, and man, we fit in perfectly with the lineup that we have right now.
Who would have thunk that the Bucks are on the cutting edge of they're on the vanguard of the NBA game.
It happened overnight. It just happened from one season to the next. Usually, it's a gradual process.
This league changes fast.
Out with the old, in with the new. Yeah,
but you got to give props to the Bucks front office for being willing to make this change so quickly. Like for the last couple of years, I just didn't think that championship was on the Bucks agenda if you're going to have so many old dudes. And I was just, to me, it was like, oh man, I just, I hoped and I wished and I pulled forward. I tried to stay optimistic and see the sunny side of things, but it was just like, we don't really have what we need to do anything. And to come in this summer, you got to shout out John Horst, man, because shrewd move to wave and stretch Dame the way they did it ended up, and Dame, great guy, great professional. So I'm sure that made the move easy. But and then to go get Myles, but then these guys, I read somewhere on Twitter, I don't know. The Bucks John Horst signed 5 rotation pieces or guys that are projected to be playing somewhat for under $22 million or something, Van. Did you see that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I didn't see that, but we can really quick. Like you talk about everyone who was brought in this summer outside of, I guess, Turner.
Outside of Turner. So outside of
like the new contracts they have, if you include Chris Livingston in that too, and then bringing everybody back, adding Gary Harris as well. That's 26.8 million is what I see.
I mean, come on, that's pulling a rabbit out of a hat. I mean, that's like he's really doing some things. And the reason I say that is because the climate in the NBA right now in this second apron stuff, and a lot of teams have constraints. There's not a lot of moves. There's still a lot of free agents that are out there that haven't been signed because of these second and third, whatever apron stuff. I don't know the particulars, but I do know that it's affecting guys' jobs, right? And so for him to get guys on the cheap is what I like to say. So Bobby's had options. Gary Trent had options. Guys had options and chose to come back to Milwaukee. I think that says something about the Bucks organization, where they're going, the vision that Doc has sold. And then it also speaks about the desirability of Milwaukee as a city. Everybody's always trying to talk about how nobody's going to come to Milwaukee, how nobody would do this and that. But like, wait a minute, you just had, we signed 6 guys right here. They had no problem either coming back or joining the Bucks. So great job, John Horst.
I should clarify that 26.8. That's 8 guys. Does not include new contracts for Bobby Portis and Kyle Kuzma. But still, like you were talking like
I'm talking like
4 5 rotation guys.
Right,
For that
exactly.
number.
Van, is that impressive, Van? Is that impressive? If you objectively,
so yeah.
Okay.
I think like he used the options available to him. I mean, he like creating cap space is something we had no idea. Like no one saw that coming. And he actually had to renounce Ryan Rollins' bird rights in there in order to. Or I'm sorry, he was a restricted free agent. He had to pull his qualifying offer. He kept the bird rights, but he didn't have bird rights on guys like on Porter or Torian Prince, and he still was able to re-sign him. Gary Trent, I believe, is the only one he kept it on.
Yeah,
sorry.
Chris Livingston. I mean, they made a move on him, and then had to kind of re-sign him, and they bumped him up another 100,000 or something when they bought him back. So I mean, it's some creative Ryan Hoover and the crew doing some creative
accounting,
creative numbers crunching going on.
Shout out.
All right, so next one. What is something you hope to see the Bucks do during the regular season, like a point of personal interest that would make these next 82 games worthwhile? What would that be for you guys?
Chris?
I mean, point Giannis. Obviously, that's something I really want to see come to life. I feel like putting Giannis in that type of position with that type of responsibility is gonna show us something we've really. Well, I don't know if we've ever seen it at the rate that he's gonna do it. Hopefully, that we see him do it. Like I'm talking about, like super domination of the ball for extended periods of time. And if this guy isn't turning it over, making himself look bad, keep the ball in his hands. Let's just play bully ball. Or not, if you don't play bully ball, let's play bully, then kick it ball, and let's get it going. Like let's be the gravity guy that Giannis let's like unleash it. Like honestly, this 30-point a game, 10 plus rebounds, 6 plus assists, like unleash this guy and let's see what he can really accomplish offensively. And that's what I want to see. I'm not sure like it's not going to happen that way, but that's sort of something I want to see this year for the Bucks.
Gotcha. So for me, and this is more of a team thing. So the Bucks last year, and this is according to my guy Ben Falk, who runs Cleaning the Glass, one of the most quoted
shout out
that there is. Ben Falk,
shout
out
Cleaning the Glass. We're big Cleaning the Glass fans.
I have a question. I'll send him a question email. He gets right back to me, explains things to me. That's a good question.
Totally.
Yeah, I've talked to him too.
Yeah,
yep.
So got to get him on the show, Chris. Now that I think about
good
it.
Idea.
But the Bucks against the top 10 teams in the league last year, they were 5-19. 5-19. Their offensive rating plummeted from 7th or 8th overall, according to Cleaning the Glass, to 26th, 108 points per game. Their effective field goal percentage, number 3 in the league over the course of the year, against the top 10 teams in terms of point differential, 15th at 53 points. So play in our own conference. 0-3 against Boston, 0-4 against Cleveland, 0-3 against New York. Now we dominated Indiana 3-1, but then got our behinds kicked in the playoffs 4-1. So
it's okay. You can say it.
but for me, it's all about playing better against the good teams, and see right away. I believe just the potential, how far this team can go during the course of next season. Just how well we play against some of the better teams in the league. If we continue this trend, then we are not going to last very long in the postseason. But if we can start off by scratching out some wins, being more efficient, especially at the offensive end against these teams, that'll be a real positive sign. So that's what I'm going to be looking at, just how well we play against the better teams in the league.
Yeah.
Good one.
Well,
good one.
This next one's got a little bit of a caveat to it. So in order for the Bucks to win a title, they must blank. And the caveat is you can't say win 4 playoff series or 16 games in the postseason. What must they do to win a title?
You're dealing with the Johnsons, man. We don't never take no shortcuts like that. For me, it's real simple. You got to be a better defensive team. You cannot contend in today's NBA. Seriously, now the Patriots did, but they played great defense in the playoffs.
Yeah, be real.
OKC, they were number 2 offensively, number 1 defensively. Boston was 3 and 5. You got to be. The offense is fine, I think the Bucks will be in the top 10 somewhere offensively. Now, defensively, they're middle of the pack, 15, 16. To me, that's where the improvement has got to occur for this team to be a title contender. The defense, Greg Buckner, it's all in your hands, buddy, but you got to be more locked down. And with Greg Buckner, it's interesting because he's told me this a lot during the course of last season. It just takes time for this team to kind of, for any team, but this team last year to kind of grasp what he's trying to do. But a lot of that he was hamstrung, I think, because of the age and lack of athleticism. And you saw that when we went with the triumvirate. You saw the defense, the turnover percentage, everything else jump up exponentially. So I think with the youth you're starting out with, it'll give him more flexibility to alter the defense to fit it around the personnel. And I expect the defense hopefully to crack that top 10. We cracked the top 10 defensively. We're right there.
No, wow, you really just hit all the main points right there. But I mean, individually, as far as like players, so for me, I broke it down to bench, right? I feel like the bench mob, whether it be Bobby, Jericho, whoever else is coming off the bench, they need to be super active and dominate the offensive glass. And this is to win a title. Like, you got to get a consistent performance of like 10 rebounds on the glass offensively every night. To me, to put the Bucks in the position they want to be, because when you talk about defense, getting on the glass is a big part of that. KPJ, in my opinion, has to be a better shooter, especially in the clutch moments. I mean, we've seen him not really. He's been all right. I think if he makes a leap there and becomes a consistent shooter, performer, scorer, guy that we can count on, then that's going to elevate the Bucks' title hopes. I also think that Myles Turner is going to be a huge key, especially on the defensive end. If he can have the same impact that he has against some of the elite centers in the NBA, I think that the Bucks can hang another banner. But it's going to take all that stuff you said, MJ, and obviously a lot more stuff that we're not covering. But to me, those three things, if we can see that, I think it'll put us in the Bucks in a good position to compete for an NBA championship.
All right. Well, then we come to the final question. And this is the big one. Predict the team's finish in the East and also how far they will go in the playoffs. You want to start that one, Kris?
So I got the Bucks finishing third in the East. I didn't even think about who's going to win, but I was thinking to myself, could the Bucks win outright the East? I think obviously in the East, the Knicks, the Cavs, Orlando, the Hawks, Sixers, everyone, those teams have. I don't know what the Celtics are going to do. I don't know what they're going to be. I'm not even going to put them in my conversation. I didn't put them in my conversation or my thought process, but I do think that the Bucks will finish third in the East. The record 52-30. I think that they finished the season with a top 5 defensive unit and a top 5 offensive unit.
Wow, ooh, I love it. And you think they can make the East Finals? You think they can win a couple playoff series?
No question. Eastern. I think they're going to make. Look, I think they could definitely make the Eastern Conference Finals next season. Third, they play 3 versus 6. And then they got to. I think they could do it. I definitely do, man. I think they have the crew, and I just do. I'm going with it. I'm short-winded on that.
I am just starved for like a longer playoff run. It's been 4 years. That was so fun, man, covering those teams, as you guys know. Marques, how about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of right on the same page as Kris. Third to East, Eastern Conference Finals. I think that's
ceiling. That's their ceiling.
Yeah. I mean, if everything falls into place and they play as well and the injuries are free and all that good stuff, I just think this team is primed to, and the fact that you're under the radar, nobody's really picking you higher than 5th or 6th, and even lower. Some people, it's crazy to me how when they grade in the off season, they give John Horst and crew a C- for the.
Yeah, I didn't get that, man.
That's messed up. It's actually messed up.
You do something that nobody thought you'd do. You stretch Dame Lillard. You stretch him and you free up money to sign the number 1 free agent out there. And that's a C-. You bring back Gary Trent Jr. and Kevin Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins and all these guys. You bring in, Cole. That's a C-. So I think, but I'm saying that in the parlance of that's a good thing. There's no pressure. This team's going to come out as a team that's under the radar. And, I believe by December, January, we're going to see a lot of the stories in NBA circles talk about the surprise team of the NBA.
Ah.
We didn't see this coming. So this is what I'm projected for this year.
Well, you heard it here first on Dear Diaries. I love it. I think, one thing I'm thinking about now, though, if they're going to be like third in the East, what y'all think about Giannis's MVP chances if that comes to pass? You think he can win a third?
No, I think my thing with Giannis and the MVP, I thought after I saw how they voted for him, when was it the last couple of seasons? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's the most disrespected superstar that I think we've seen in the NBA in a long time. There's no way that this guy shouldn't get more votes year in, year out. Like, I understand that what Jokic did and how good of a player Jokic is, but like I just feel like Giannis is not appreciated outside of Milwaukee. Like, I feel like the state of Wisconsin understands what they have in Giannis. Everyone else kind of feels like he's overrated because anyway. So I don't think that MVP as in the third place finish is even in the question for Giannis because of the way the voters will probably vote.
Well, and I disagree. I think he has a chance at a third MVP because there's Jokic fatigue right now. I just think, with the averaging the triple double and all that, and then Shea, how much of a hangover does he have of an MVP championship? And I love Shea. I love the guy he works out with, the guard whisperer, Old and Simple, is a good friend of ours. Who's been on our podcast.
I remember him.
Yeah, but just you know what I mean? Can Shea string together 30+ point per game, just otherworldly type seasons? I just don't know. The key is as we're talking, if we are the talk of the league come January, and Giannis is the guy, and he's the fulcrum, and he's doing everything that we're talking about doing. His defense is spectacular. His offensive decision making, his point production, his clutch shooting, and he's knocking down the mid range shot, hitting clutch. It's going to take almost a perfect storm, but I think he's capable of doing that. And remember last year, I don't know if you guys remember this, just being with the team, Giannis for a change in, I was going to say 2 or 3 years, but I don't know if he's ever openly talked about his desire to be MVP. He talked about that last year, so that's still within him. So I just think Giannis's play is going to put eyes on him, but also Myles Turner has a chance to be a potential all-star, all-defensive player. Other guys have a chance to get some most improved consideration. I just think Giannis is going to be such a spectacular player this season that a lot of good things are going to happen that's going to surprise people.
Right on. Man, that was some serious ball knowledge, fellas. Like, I am wizened thanks to your wisdom. I appreciate it a lot. And as fun as that was, we got to move on to our final segment here, which I think is going to be even more fun. But Marcus, you might not know. So I lived. I mentioned I went to USC. I lived on the west side of LA for a few years, so I'm kind of like, it was like an adoptive home for me for a bit. But of course, you two guys are as LA as it gets, and I know we've got a movie star in the pod right now. I know you majored in dramatic arts, was it at UCLA too?
Theater arts, baby.
Theater arts. Well, I just thought this would be really fun. We are gonna draft our favorite movies that were set in the city of Los Angeles, and we're gonna snake it. We'll let you go first, Marcus, then Kris, and then me, and then I'll get 2 picks. But yeah, I've just really been looking forward to this. We're calling it. It's not sponsored by Johnson & Johnson, but I just figured that's you guys these days you have to have that corporate name out front, or else no one really takes it seriously.
I know,
so
right?
This is the Johnson & Johnson LA Film Buffs draft, is what we're calling it. So.
All right.
I've been looking forward to this. I got my big board right here. I'm keeping track of it. But Mr. Johnson, you are on the clock.
Well, I didn't know what we were basing this on. But
movie set in LA,
I know. So I just wrote down a whole bunch of them. So I'll just start off with, let me see. And I'm going to start off with this one because it's written by, the book is written by my favorite author, Walter Mosley, who was a screenwriter on Snowfall, a great series set in L.A. There's a movie with Denzel Washington and Jennifer Beals called Devil in a Blue Dress. Portrays L.A. in the 1950s. And those periods always fascinated me because in the neighborhood in South Central, View Park, Windsor Hills, Leimert Park area that we live in, the palm trees, the houses, that's where we live. That's our neighborhood. And so that reminds me of that. So I'm going to start off. And with Walter Mosley, one last point. My first time as a finalist for the Hall of Fame, I was on a cross-country flight with Walter Mosley. And we were talking. I told him I was going to find out about the Hall of Fame by the time I got off the plane. They were going to call me and let me know.
Right.
Take the call on the plane. I got off the plane. They left me a voicemail. We're walking toward baggage claim, me and Walter Mosley. He's like, play the message, play the message. I played the message, and it was the guy saying, we regret to inform you, you didn't make it. And he took it worse than I did. He almost cried. I don't believe that. I looked at your numbers. And so Walter Mosley, Devil in the Blue Dress, my first Los Angeles period piece that I'm gonna draft.
That is a great pick. I've heard a lot about that movie. I'm a big Denzel fan. I haven't seen it. You seen it, Kris?
Yes.
Yeah. It's on my list. I listed out a whole bunch of LA movies. I got a column over here, the ones I need to see. So that one's skyrocketing right to the top because that's a good recommendation. All right, KJ, how about you?
You know, I kind of torn a little bit because the movies I like from LA, set in LA, are straight up classics for my generation. So the one I'm gonna have to go with, and it was tough. It was between a few others, but I'm gonna have to go with Friday. Is number one. My number one movie set in LA. Just for the comedic gold that was throughout that, the cultural significance of that film. Like, it's just one of the funniest movies. One of the movies I've watched, over 100, 200, 300 times, where you could just watch it over and over again and you know the whole movie. Well, I did when I was younger. But Friday would be my first draft choice.
I had that on the list too. Yes, a classic.
One note about Friday. By Felicia. Yeah. Angela Deans was in my act.
I was just about to say it.
Good friend of mine, her son, Brad Kaya, was the
quarterback at Miami.
Yeah. But Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Endearing movie. I mean, like, a lot of staying power for that. Which
absolutely,
I think makes it a real strong choice. But Kris, you had me so worried right there. I was holding my breath because I thought you were going to take mine. Because I know when you came on the pod last year, we were talking, like, we were doing a little LA back and forth, like, what's your favorite, like, taco place in LA? What's your favorite?
I remember,
beach, this kind of stuff. And then I come up, what's your favorite movie in LA? And you say it was like
Heat.
My favorite movie, man. Like, it was like you said that, and I was like, man, I was gonna say the exact same thing. Yes, Heat. Michael Mann, University of Wisconsin graduate, Chicago native. Yes, his heist film from 1995, starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer. Really good ensemble cast there. But like, I just think it's like such a perfect movie in a lot of ways, and just like some of the best scenes. I think that the two scenes that the two leads share, without giving too much away, I think they were like the best scenes ever in motion picture history. I love them so dearly.
And I think, MJ, were you watching that on TV as it happened? The North Hollywood, the North Hollywood shooting. You ever seen that?
It's like a bank heist. Yeah, that was kind of inspired by it.
Yeah.
We were watching the Patty Hearst, Symbolize Liberation Army.
Oh.
His Q, when they do it on 52nd, and I forgot.
Oh yeah.
That's what we were watching. That whole thing.
Okay.
Different. I guess, like, crazy LA crime.
But you can watch this stuff on TV. I mean, on regular TV, like, you would have like the OJ Chase, things like that. Yeah. I mean, it was like, on regular TV. Like, you turn it on, you're just like, what the hell? Reality. Right. It was reality TV before reality TV.
Right. All right, I get to make two here, and it's really great. I get to pick like one of my other top 3 favorite movies ever. Gotta go with The Big Lebowski, man. The dude abides. Like
The dude. Okay.
it's. I mean, I'm a big Coen Brothers guy, but I my one of my friends. I mean, they got me the sweater. You know, his famous Pendleton sweater a couple years ago. Just like since I grew my hair out and I was living in LA, everyone's like, "You're the dude," and I said, "No, you're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude." Yeah, Big Lebowski is going first overall in the second round for me. All right. I can quote it all day.
Nice.
Okay, who's?
It's back to you, Kris.
Oh, it's back to me. My number two. My number two, based in LA, based on just overall influence on me as a child. I'll say number 2 would be Summer School, 1987 with Mark Harmon. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, but that's probably going to be my number 2 because I love that movie. I didn't have a real reason why, but I love his character. He's like played like a substitute PE teacher, but just kind of like a Breakfast Club West, if you will, like a West, it was based like if Breakfast Club was based in LA. It has similar to that. So my number 2 is Summer School with Mark Harmon.
A little background: Mark Harmon, UCLA grad. Mark Harmon was a senior when I was a freshman. We were in the same acting class, took some broadcasting classes together at UCLA. Mark started Summer School, but the Davis dude, Kris, that showed up the first day and didn't.
Yeah. Who's that?
Okay, so his father is Willie Davis, the Green Bay Packer Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah,
that's his father. Talk about Milwaukee connections, and he grew up in Palos Verdes. He's best friends with your uncle, Gene McAdoo.
Oh,
my
wow.
sister Daphne's husband. They grew up together. So I've seen him in a lot of family functions, but Summer School resonates with me just for that very reason. But it's up to me right now, huh, fellas?
Yep.
Yeah. So I got to go with White Men Can't Jump.
I wondered when that was coming.
Raymond is in the building.
Raymond. I was a little confused. I was like, is it going to be weird if Kris doesn't take that? Like, is there going to be some drama if he doesn't take White Men?
It's all by design. It's all by design.
Kris played in a background character. Got a green base.
Yeah.
What baseball hat?
I had on a Jets hat and a Warriors sweatshirt.
Yeah.
I got to go back and find that. This was when y'all were playing those pickup games in like MacArthur Park. Yeah.
Yep. But so White Men Can't Jump, man. We had such a great time doing that. And in terms of iconic LA landmarks, Venice Beach, the Watts Towers. I mean, just loaded with those kinds of things. So yeah, that to me is just epitomizes kind of the basketball underworld of LA.
The culture. Yeah, it's a great one. I think I was listening to y'all's podcast with Mark Stein. Didn't he called it like the greatest or one of the greatest, maybe the greatest basketball film ever, I think he said.
Yeah.
He liked it
up there.
Quick story. I got quick stories about everything. You'll like this, man. But so Ron Shelton, who wrote and directed White Men Can't Jump, he was a regular at the Hollywood Y. So I took Kris up to the Hollywood Y. I used to take him up there all the time when you were like 14, 15, maybe 14 years old. He's playing against Denzel Washington. Denzel played at Mount Vernon High School with Gus Williams and Ray Williams and Earl Tatum, that crew. Denzel played at Fordham for P.J. Colissimo as a freshman.
Right.
Ball player. Denzel's a ball player. He and Kris got into it, man. So Kris is posting him up, giving him elbows. Denzel squared up with Kris. Is like, young fella, I'll whip I'll whip blah, 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 blah. Send you home to your mama. I was like, hey, hold it, man. This is my son. There ain't gonna be none of that around here. But him and Kris laugh about that little incident to this day when they see.
I literally fast forward to 2001 or maybe 2000, whatever year the Lakers played Portland Game 7 and Kobe threw the lob to Shaq. So I happened to luck up on an opportunity to sit courtside that game. So I was courtside that game, and I was sitting next to, on my left, Denzel and his wife. On my right, Salma Hayek and Edward Norton Jr. or Edward Norton. So this is my crew for that game. And I'm in there, and I'm straight up. I'm in there, because Steve Lavin, UCLA head coach, I was obviously out of school, but Steve Lavin called me. Hey, somebody bailed on a ticket. He had 3 tickets, and the odd was the courtside seat. So he brought his boy. They took the 2, and I was the odd. And the odd was between. So Denzel sees me. It's all love. And so the whole game, we high-fiving. Like, it's the game that first time I ever saw NBA officials swallow their whistles up close and personal. Portland's up 15 in the fourth. The Lakers come back to win. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. As far as the referees not calling fouls, I'm talking about they hacking Scotty, they hacking Steve Smith. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm on courtside. I'm watching it.
Sacramento
that
Kings.
Was, and I think that was like the Sacramento. Was that the same year as maybe the Kings but that was the Western Conference Finals as well. But also it could have been the same year as the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals against Philly too. The refs were
they were a little shady.
In that series too. They were story in that series. Yeah, it was that guy Tim Donaghy. I don't know if he was involved in that.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, Marcus, you got another one. Third round now.
I'll do it. Okay, so I'm gonna go and follow your lead, Ben. Michael Mann movie, L.A. base, Collateral.
Yeah,
with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx. I thought Jamie Foxx did a great job in that. But my favorite scene is Leimert Park, area near where we live. Jazz club, Barry Shabaka Henley was the actor. And this is when the first guy, Tom Cruise, was going to assassinate and then snuff out. And that scene was just so riveting. But that jazz club, that's L.A. That's quintessential L.A., man. The jazz club, Leimert Park, late night, Dick's Coffee Shop, man. And just so many great reminders of the beauty of L.A. And Michael Mann, the director, they were going to do it in New York, but he insisted on L.A. He's lived out in L.A. at the time and did a great job of just articulating the iconic landmarks of Los Angeles in that movie. So Collateral, man, I love that movie.
Michael Mann, are big fans of Michael Mann in this household, man. Like, quick thing, did you know that he has written like as a book a sequel to Heat? Like I have it. I'm a nonfiction guy, but like I had to pick that one up just because like he had a co-writer with it, but I mean I think he's got a film option on that, so we'll see. But yeah, he knows how to tell a story. All right, Chris, back to you.
So my next one, and kind of staying on the theme that MJ talked about, a movie that had a lot of like cultural significance, landmarks, and scenes that, at the time we're like, oh, you could recognize stuff. And so there was a special significance for that film, is Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood for me would be my draft choice. There was messages in that. There were some classic scenes that, have been recreated through time, and some moments in there that, I'll always remember. It's a movie that resonated with me and continues to this day. So Boys in the Hood is my next draft pick.
Furious Styles, right?
Who?
Was it Furious?
Furious Styles. Furious Styles.
Furious Styles. Yeah.
And he had the those balls, those silver steel. He used to have those and be talking that talk. He talked that talk.
I'm wondering if this was the same. I have a pick that's going to fall in line with these kinds of selections here, but I'm trying to see if it was from the same filmmaker. Because I'm next. I got to go with this is a movie. To be fair, I haven't seen it since high school, and but we really liked it in high school. I guess it's a different. It's different. Like production and director, but Wayans Brothers, Don't Be a Menace to South Central.
Oh wow, I was gonna say
drinking
that.
Your juice in the hood.
I was gonna say that.
Message.
But that's the movie. So that's the movie that parodied the Boys in the Hood and stuff like that. So it was a parody of those movies.
You remember when even the mailman would just pop up and I just died. Like he comes out of the baby stroller. He's got like a bonnet on with a rattle. He's like,
it was one of the most over, it was so crazy, man, but it was shock comedy.
I thought it was hilarious, man. I hadn't seen Boys in the Hood at that point, but I just thought it was so freaking funny.
One more point on Heat before we move on.
Oh yeah, of course.
I had to look it up because you're such a big Heat fan.
Oh yeah.
Good brother had a scene in there, I think with Al Pacino, Ricky Harris. So Ricky Harris, black guy, young black guy, he passed away a few years back, but he was in my acting class. We were good friends. So some of the best weed I ever had. But Ricky was a cousin of Snoop. So on those songs, Kris, where Snoop and you hear this old guy, the parents coming home, Snoop doggy, that's Ricky Harris. That voice that comes home and catches them having a party. I think it's gin and juice or something, and bust them as they're having the party. And Ricky does all those voices is Ricky Harris, and he had a great scene. I think it was Al Pacino. He worked out with our acting teacher, Rick Edelstein, on that scene, and Rick really sang his praises in terms of the job he did.
Was he the dude who like was the informant? Like he goes, like Pacino goes to like talk to him, like the junkyard with all the dogs, and he goes, "Give me all you got."
Yeah. That's Ricky. That's Ricky Harris.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
That's Rick.
Cool.
That's Rick.
Yeah, and then he tells him to go talk to his cousin who was played by Tone Loc. So,
that crew.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Nice. Okay. It's me again, and man, there's a lot of really good choices out there. I think we've been talking about him, and I just want to get this guy on my team. So I'm gonna go. I want Denzel, so I'm going with Training Day.
Nice.
That one is that is another one. Like, I mean, a lot of these movies, you know, I can. Like, you see parts of LA like that, in them, but just like, you know, some of those, and not that I lived in this area or like really went up there all that much, but like like his house up there, was that in like Echo Park or like Silver Lake or something like that? That scene there, like, and just and the final scenes too, which is probably
the King's speech, his speech.
Yes. Where was that filmed? Do you know?
The Jungle is near Dorsey High School.
That's right.
It's a whole apartment complex. Is red. The Bloods gang rule that. I was taking my son Josh to a practice over at Baldwin Hills Rec Center or something over there, and I came out and it was nothing but Bloods, Kris. Just about 200 Bloods out in front of this little rec center. So I went back inside and stayed for another hour.
But fun fact. Dorsey High School, which is the central high school in that area, where all the Bloods were, Sparky Anderson, the old manager for the Detroit Tigers, actually an alum of Dorsey High School, along with a bunch of other. It has like this illustrious history. When you really go back in time and think and look up the history of LA, it's incredible how rich that history is.
Sparky Anderson's brother, Bill Anderson, was my history teacher at Crenshaw in the 11th grade. So
this is not planned. The synergy is normal.
There'll be a story about Sparky and all that. Yeah, a great history teacher, William Anderson.
I had a friend actually at USC who was from the Valley. I want to say like maybe Thousand Oaks or something like that. But he apparently Sparky Anderson retired up there because like he mowed his lawn and stuff. Like he knew Sparky Anderson. He lived in his neighborhood. He's got all his cards. He was like. He went over to his house and stuff like that. I didn't know he was. That makes a lot of sense. I took the train right by Dorsey. Every day going to campus because I lived in Palms and I would just get on the Expo line going over there. So
most athlete, Kris, would you say is Keyshawn Johnson?
Yeah, Keyshawn's probably the most famous Dorsey athlete that I can name off the top of my head.
Right on.
Yeah, probably Key.
Yeah, Coach Gene McAdoo, your uncle coached him at Dorsey, coached him in football. So anyway, let's see. Where are we at?
We got we're in the 4th round. Kris, it's you.
So for this pick, you know, don't laugh at me, but this movie when it dropped, I mean, you know, I definitely went and saw it a couple of times. I definitely had some, you know, company when I saw it. It's called Clueless. I don't know if you remember the movie Clueless.
Sure.
From back in the day.
But that's legit. I would not make fun of you for that.
That's one of my low-key, like favorite little low-key movies from that era.
Actress in that.
Alicia Silverstone, right?
That's the white girl. The black actor.
Oh, Stacey Dash.
Stacey Dash.
Love
Stacey Dash.
Yeah, Stacey Dash was off the chain.
Yeah,
but that movie was just like, I don't know, because at the time I had in 1995, obviously I had went through such a duality growing up in Los Angeles and having a mother that kind of lived in South Central and my father living in Bel Air and the Black Beverly Hills. So I kind of she was like always torn from my personality or the things I was always kind of drawn to. So Clueless for me, it represented a side of me, and I loved the hell out of Clueless, and that was one of my favorite movies of the time. So that's my draft pick, bro. I'm
What
going
about
Clueless.
fourth pick?
Yeah, this is a four. You got. This is your last two.
It's up. It's me. My turn.
Yeah, it's your last two.
Oh man, so I'm gonna go old school. Just a question. I gotta go real old school, and y'all gonna laugh at me. But
What?
the Scrugga Mug and Mark of Zorro with Tyrone
Ooh.
and Linda Darnell, 1940s, but it depicted Los Angeles in the turn of the century, kind of with the land
Millennium.
That, and Zorro was kind of the Robin Hood, the Mark of Zorro, the Z. But I used to watch that movie, Chris, with my late great sister Sharon, your aunt, and we just love those old black and whites. But it was the Pueblo Los Angeles. It was all about Los Angeles.
So Zorro, so you're telling me Zorro was based in LA? The Zorro when he used to do it with the hat and the Z?
The sword
That's
fighter.
LA? That's LA?
That's LA. Tyrone Power played like the Don Diego, the effeminate kind of Don by day. Then he put on the black mask and the hat, and he's Zorro and the swashbuckling Zorro by night. It's one of the greatest action-packed movies of all times.
Wow. And your next one?
Los Angeles based.
Yeah. So this was. Wait. So wait. What year was it from?
I think 1940, I believe, around 1940.
Because there's been a bunch. There's been a bunch of like I knew about like the one with like Antonio Banderas, but yeah, this is
the Mark of Zorro.
Yeah, the original.
Yeah, and Tyrone Power. It's a real handsome actor. But it's another movie, great movie. You get a chance to see an old movie called Blood in the Sand. He plays this bullfighter, this Mexican Spanish bullfighter, and he just does an outstanding job. And it's a tearjerker at the end. I won't give you the ending, but no spoiler alert.
Okay.
But Zorro, Mark of Zorro, Los Angeles, early Los Angeles.
I'm gonna have to watch these with my dad. My dad is a big old film guy, and he's a big Western guy. So he may have seen these, but if not, he probably would like them.
Yep.
All right, what you doing for your last pick?
Me?
Yeah, we got the fifth round now.
Oh God, man, this is tough. It's two of them that I love. Between Chinatown and Sunset Boulevard, Norma Desmond. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille, but I'm gonna go with Chinatown, Jack Nicholson, and Faye Dunaway, and so there's a great scene when because it deals with incest and all that. Faye Dunaway, and so her daughter is also her sister. So one time, Chris is sitting between my daughter Shiloh and his daughter Kalila, and so he starts going, "She's my daughter. She's my sister. She's my daughter. She's my sister." But that's a scene. I don't know if you do that or not, Chris, but that's a scene from China.
I remember that.
Dunaway is trying to explain to Jack Nicholson the relationship between her and this young girl. She's my daughter. He slapped her. She's my sister. He slapped her. She's my daughter. She's my sister. She's my daughter. She's my sister. And you can do that between both. I think it was Jasmine and Kalila. It was my daughter Jasmine and my granddaughter Kalila. It's my daughter. It's my sister. It's my daughter. It's my sister. Anyway,
that's funny.
It was hilarious.
I was waiting for Chinatown. I might have. I was thinking about that one, but I'm glad that got taken because that's one of the best LA films ever. Yeah. I mean, and like Chinatown itself in LA. Like I remember I went to Chinatown just like the first time, and then I watched that movie. That was like, that's a great neighborhood. I love Chinatown in LA. All right, Chris, this is your final pick.
So my final pick, and I got to get a clarification on what percentage of the film needs to be actually filmed in LA. 100 for it to be considered the LA movie.
38%.
Okay, so if it's 85%, in LA. Okay, True Romance. True Romance. That's one of my favorite films. They started off, I think in Detroit or Chicago.
Right, Detroit.
Yeah, and then they moved it, and then they came to LA with the stuff and all that. And so True Romance, I mean, such an ensemble cast of hitters. It's first where I saw, I think, was it Brad Pitt? I think I might have first saw Brad Pitt, but our guy, I mean, obviously, who was? I think is it Christopher
Walken, James
Christopher Walken. Yeah. Like I'm talking about like one of the dopest movies that I'd ever seen. So I'm going True Romance, baby.
Better to have a gun and not need it than to need a gun and not have it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a Tarantino movie is a real good value there in the
One of the originals.
right. Like, and taking that over like Pulp Fiction, I think was like 100% in LA too, right? So it's like I like that. I like the boldness of that thing, Kris.
Pulp Fiction, that the restaurant scene, that's Pan's, right, Kris? That's Pan's restaurant.
I'm not sure, actually.
I believe it's Pan's where we have breakfast all the time.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. There are some. Is that restaurant still there?
Yeah.
Still around. Yeah. I mean, there are like I'm gonna mention Heat one more time. Like that restaurant from the diner scene. That's no more. I know. So yeah.
No, but Pulp Fiction is a classic. I didn't pick it, but let's make no mistake about it. There's so many movies that could have fell under this. But these are like my personal, when I was kind of younger and impressionable, those movies really made a mark on me.
Yeah, we could be doing this all night, and like there are a lot of really good like undrafted free agents, that we're gonna have to be battling for. We're gonna have to.
It's both Bowfinger with Steve Martin and Eddie Murray playing the duel.
Yeah.
There's the Bowfinger movie based on a true story. Mary Pickford had a movie of her life made without her knowledge. So it's based on a true story. It's the screenplay written by Steve Martin. Check it out. Bowfinger, great movie.
And one thing I'll say about this guy, MJ, is like when I was younger, like he really expanded my horizons in the terms of movies, right? So he had me watching stuff like The Defiant Ones with Tony Curtis and Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
Sergeant York with Gary Cooper.
Yeah. Come on.
Hey, Angels with Dirty Faces with James Cagney, right? Was it Jimmy?
Oh.
Hey, my dad had me. I had to watch the Twilight Zone with Rod Sterling, whatever his name is.
The marathon on the holidays.
So this is the stuff that I kind of grew up with, and I developed a taste for this stuff. But I thank you, MJ, for expanding my horizons at such an early age.
Thank you.
Yeah, my parents were kind of the same way. They got me hooked on like the right comedy from when I was a kid. Like they got me
the right comedy, right?
Well, like they were showing me like Marx Brothers, Abbott and Costello,
that's the good stuff.
Peter Sellers, Monty Python, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Monty Python, run away.
Yeah. So no, but my parents definitely informed these two. Okay, I'm gonna finish it up. I got a little bit of a theme going, I think. Except for, well, I don't know. Lebowski kind of fits this theme, and like I could, but all my movies are kind of gritty. Like they show like some of that underbelly of LA.
Yeah.
And they show it from from different perspectives too. Like people like various like social strata and places in life. So I like how this one also does that. I'm going, and I want to hear your all's take on this too. I'm going to Falling Down, Michael Douglas.
Ooh,
great one.
That was good. That's a really good one.
That is one that like I can feel, like watching that. I can feel being in LA. Like I can feel it on my skin. Like when he's in his car at the beginning, and like I mean I think that where that convenience store that he smashes up, like that was kind of near campus, I want to say. Like it's not, I don't know if it's there anymore, but like I know those neighborhoods he was in. Not that country club, I don't know that one, but I could really like just every part of it. It's like I knew exactly where it was, and I know what it feels like to be in those places. I don't know what it feels like to be his character in the movie, like in terms of that breakdown he's having, but it's like that's so palpable, like just the sensations. I feel it.
He nailed it. He nailed that role.
Well, here's a note for you. So Blue Chips.
Okay.
We based on UCLA. We shot the college scenes at USC. And so we had a scene where there's supposed to be a bunch of college-looking ladies, co-eds, that are all around campus. So we got a bunch of extras. And so William Friedkin, who did The Exorcist and some other great movies, but he was the director. And he looked around at all the way the women were dressed, short skirts and tight skirts and low cut. He's like, these look like a bunch of strippers. And so he told the first AD to go and pay students like $50 just to come on the set at that moment to be a part of the production. So we got a lot of just ad hoc USC ladies out there that were dressed as regular students, but it was a funny moment in that scene.
Paid the extras?
Yeah, paid. Well, he just paid much of because the extras they'd already hired. They came on set. They were just dressed way too risque to be college students. You got a bunch of effing strippers out here.
It was the 90s. Come on, chill out, Bill.
It's still
the
like
90s.
that, man.
Yeah,
At USC, it's
90s,
still kind of
bro.
like that. Like just walking around, it's like sometimes when I was there. I mean, I was there in my mid-20s, and like I was already starting to feel like a little creepy.
Yeah, I mean it's LA, you know. You just gotta keep the blinders on.
You keep the shades on. You
keep the blinders on, bro.
I learned that very quickly. Well, this has been a lot of fun. It's like I'm looking at like some other stuff on the list, like Die Hard, the Terminator movies, Singing in the Rain, LA Confidential, Usual Suspects,
The Player,
Sandlot, The
Boogie
Player.
Nights.
See, I didn't. I should have looked some up. I was going off like the top of my head. I didn't really Google anything.
You got a good list, man.
I mean, Usual Suspects, bro. Like I forgot that was in LA. That's one of the coldest movies of all time.
Down in San Pedro.
What's his name? Kaiser Soze. When he start walking normal at the end.
I hope I got to put a spoiler warning on this.
Oh, come on! If you ain't seen Usual Suspects in 30 years, isn't there a statute of limitations on spoilers? Van, isn't there a statute of limitations?
Yeah, I think there should be. Yeah, I mean you're right because that's kind of like a Darth Vader thing at this point. You know, like come on, man. But yes, Usual Suspects. That was one I had up here too.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Come on, man. Oh man,
that's on my list.
Yeah,
that's dope
too. There are so many, but let me go over our teams really quick. I got Heat, Lebowski, Don't Be a Mess, Training Day, Falling Down. Kris, you got Friday, Summer School, which I haven't seen. I got to check that out. Boys in the Hood, Clueless, and True Romance. And then MJ, Devil in the Blue Dress, White Man Can't Jump, Collateral, Mark of Zorro. That was a neat pick. That could be like, that's like a diamond in the rough pick. That's like, that's like a Chris Middleton in the second round kind of pick.
Absolutely.
And then Chinatown in the fifth round. Chinatown slipped, it slipped a little bit, but it's going to be okay. It'll be like Aaron Rodgers. He'll still have a nice.
It's like the age thing, right? We don't like drafting old seniors, you know what I mean?
Right. That's it.
Bad interview with the management. Had a bad interview, so that's why it slipped so.
Exactly. Yeah, he's that fifth-year senior, and just Well, fellas, this has just been so much fun. Again, thank you so much for being on here. Quickly, just tell us all about the Here District and where we can hear you, where we can get our Johnson fix in the off season.
Kris, go ahead, man.
No, you can find us on you can subscribe to the Bucks official YouTube channel. We have a tab on there. Go under podcast, you'll find us, or you can find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcasts. Bucks Plus Audio, Here District on Bucks Plus Audio. You can check Bucks Plus Audio out on Twitter and IG.
Our man Monis running the show over there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Monis Khan, baby.
Shout out to Monis right now. You'll probably
yes, for Khan. Yeah.
Yes, for Khan.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, thank you again so much. And everyone, thank you for tuning in. We will continue this series. We have some other guests planned already on the books, maybe some other people you might have heard in the past or currently hear alongside Marques on broadcasts. And of course, we'll have some of our friends and former Brew Hoopers, like who are still around, maybe just on Twitter, guys like Frank Madden, Eric Name, and of course the current Brew Hoop staff. We'll be turning these out between now and I guess when the preseason starts, which is in like maybe the first week or two of October. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk to you soon.
All right.
Thanks.